So abuse is not just a surface level problem. And this is where most people get it wrong. You know, they think trauma is just something that it's individual circumstances that, or memories or events that, you know, we just haven't dealt with yet. But what people don't realize is that long-term abuse and trauma rewires everything in your system. Literally everything. Down to your ability to even be able to accept or experience joy in your world. And so I'm going to give you an example of just how deep this might go. You know, you might think, okay, I'm going to leave this relationship and yeah, I have some work to do. I have some healing to do. There was this instance and this circumstance and this way that they talked to me and treated me. And, you know, you might see the obvious stuff. But when you step out of the abusive situation, you're left with wounds. I'm going to call them like paper cuts. They're small little nicks and things that are actually, they're not small, but they flew under the radar the entire time because you were slowly being reprogrammed to react or respond or to survive in certain circumstances. And so my example of this would be a person's ability to experience peace. So to a normal person who hasn't experienced extreme abuse or trauma, peace just feels wonderful. You know, you have a peaceful day and you're able to rest in that peace. You are able to accept the peace and welcome the peace and experience it fully. And it's a wonderful feeling. But to a person who has suffered from the abuse or the trauma, they might get out of the relationship and then find that either peace or happiness or joy is completely elusive. It's like, how do I experience this? Like, you can't even invite it into your experience. Or number two, when you do experience it, you are unable to rest in it. And so what this will look like is you may have a wonderful morning. You may wake up and it's like, oh my gosh, everything's perfect. Everything's wonderful, you know, and you're experiencing peace. And then once your mind catches on to what's going on, I'm feeling peaceful, or wow, this is really joyful. It's almost like your nervous system steps in and is like, whoa, wait a minute. Red flag. It like sends up these alarms because in that abusive situation, maybe every single time that you found yourself to be peaceful or you finally found yourself to be experiencing joy or happiness, that's when the abuse comes in. And so internally, your system starts to program itself that peace is dangerous or joy is dangerous because every time it comes in or you accept it as is, something terrible happens. An argument ensues. They pick a fight with you. You know, they demean you. They call you names or they are physical with you. You know, it's different for everyone, but it's like the programming that takes place in those situations. So your body begins to learn that peace and joy are not safe because it comes and it's snatched away from you. So during the abuse, probably without even realizing it, you lost your ability to be peaceful or to experience the fullness of happiness or joy because there's almost fear associated with it. You start to pinpoint that, hey, every time I experience this emotion, this person comes in and that's when something bad happens. And so it programs into your mind, into your nervous system that these emotions are now dangerous. And so you may leave the abuse, you may have been able to leave the abuser, but what you're finding is it's not just the major instances and trauma that you're having to heal, it's healing your body's ability to accept peace in your life without throwing up a million flags and shutting your system down and flooding you with cortisol because, oh my God, peace is here, or I'm feeling joyful right now. Your joy is only able to be experienced for a short amount of time before your system catches on. And then it's like you're flooded with stress hormones. You're flooded with panic. You're flooded with, because that's what your body's been programmed to do. Here comes joy. Something bad's happening. So it's like the reprogramming down to that level, just being unable to function like a normal person would, even though there is no real danger. There is nobody there now to take that from you, to steal that from you, but your system is in autopilot. It's just pumping these hormones. It's going through the motions because that's what it has been experiencing for years and years and years. And so this is where allowing can become really handy. If you find yourself unable to experience the joy or the peace, so it's like, let's say, the joy is there and then your system starts to panic. It's really important not to try to fight your system, because in creating that resistance, it's just going to amp up bigger and louder because you're saying, hey, this is dangerous. The fear is dangerous. You're just creating more flags. So to reprogram your system is to be able to sit in the joy or sit with the peace, and you are aware that your system is throwing up flags. You are aware that the fight or flight has been turned on. You are aware that the fear is coming in, but you're not fearfully responding to any of it. So you are sitting in the allowing. It's almost like going, okay, I understand what's going on here. I am going to peacefully sit in the fight or flight. I am going to peacefully sit through and for me, it was like butterflies in the tummy, like not in a good way, almost like a burning tightness in my stomach, or maybe you can feel it in your chest, when these flags kick in or these hormones turn on, or, your brain is going, oh no, danger, this isn't good, this isn't safe, like we have to panic, something bad's going to happen. So it's sitting through those alarms without being reactive. It's finding a place of neutrality where you're not responding to the alarms. You're not engaging them in a super negative or super positive way so as not to keep them going in the system. And what's going to happen over time is if you continue to sit in a neutral place while these alarms are going off, eventually your brain is going to take the hint that, oh wait, I don't have to keep throwing the alarms because it's safe. There's no major reaction. There's no meltdown. There's no fighting. There's no argument. There's no extreme response anymore. We're just neutral. And so over time, these alarms are going to dissipate, and you're going to find that your system begins to trust and to allow the joy and the happiness and the peace to come in without flagging it as dangerous. And so healing the little paper cuts, healing the smaller wounds, this is how we can reprogram our systems to be able to allow those things. And so today I had woke up, it was beautiful for me. This birds were chirping, the sky was so blue, there was such peace. And then I began to find that my system was questioning it. It was going, oh, but wait a minute, remember this, remember that, like, you can't trust this, like, oh, let's go into worry, let's go into fear. And so instead of engaging in that, I was just sitting with it and witnessing sort of the alarms going off, witnessing my system kind of freaking out internally, but not responding, and just breathing through it and keeping myself calm and not responding, not reacting. And it felt really yucky for a while, but I was just sitting in it and allowing it. And the extreme response in my body began to dissipate. While this was happening, I began to notice like aches and pains in my body. I was starting to feel the tension, the bracing in my physical body, like bracing for impact, bracing for, the problem, because that's what my body's been conditioned to do. So by sitting there and just breathing and being in the calm and being neutral, and I knew what was going on mentally, so I was able to approach it through a very calm, neutral state. And in doing that, the pain began to dissipate. My body began to relax again. So it's a very somatic way of healing, a somatic way of being with those little trauma points without having to overly engage or purposely seek them out. It's just as they come up, you approach it through a very neutral way of being. You don't panic. You just understand your body was programmed to do this, and now we are going to deprogram by being non-responsive and unreactive. And so, understanding the level to which trauma really drives into our system. It's not just the big obvious things. It's our body's natural responses to things that would not trigger or affect a normal person who hasn't experienced intense or severe trauma. And so the healing, it's going to take time. It takes effort. It takes consistency. It takes being in that neutral place so that your mind can shut the alarms down and your body quits bracing, and you can now accept the peace and the love and the joy and the comfort and the safety back in. I love you guys. God bless. I pray this helps. Have a great day.